Opening credits play as the song Keep On Loving You by REO Speedwagon starts playing. Interior bathroom, night. We see an unknown person at first. They reach out and put on 2 black gloves. They grab a pistol. The camera then shifts and shows the figure as Chase Steinwell. Text then pops up. 1997. I'm someone who has a heavy heart, and I'm a very emotional person. This video holds very much sentimental value to me because this video will be explaining my unreleased film by the title of PIs for Hire. It had a 133-page script, and it was my magnum opus. Now, throughout this video, you're going to be seeing clips from other short films of mine, and right now you're seeing B-roll footage, unused footage, because the film was never complete. It was canceled, of PIs for Hire. It was going to be amazing in my opinion, and today this video will be going through the complete film synopsis. I'll be going through the script, sharing what the story was going to be about, as well as some cast interviews. I have 4 cast members who have agreed to come on and give their interviews. That being Dylan Blake. He played Johnny in 2 of my other short films. He would have reprised his role. Another being Tyler O'Connor, who would have played the main character of Danny Morawski, who is in white right there in this scene. Johnny, my friend Dylan, he's the main villain. You would have also seen a secondary antagonist by the name of Carlos. I am getting him on for the interview. His name is Ethan Zarek. And finally, you will be seeing Robbie Owens in an interview as well. He would have been playing Bart, a secondary protagonist. But let me start with the synopsis of the film. I will be going through and reading the script partially, and I want to clarify something. This film would have connected 2 of my previous films by the name of Desperate Measures and Headhunters. Desperate Measures is sort of the bastard child of my films, as that's something I do not like to reference because I am not a big fan of the film because I made it when I was 13. Headhunters, on the other hand, was my second short film, and it was not great, but it was a vast improvement from Desperate Measures. This this feature-length film of PIs for Hire, it would have been a direct sequel to Desperate Measures, and it would have been a complete remake of Headhunters. I would have been remaking the entirety of it. Now, the film's dynamic, it would have been set in 1997 and 2006. You would have started off with Chase Steinwell. It would have been an establishing shot of him getting ready for his day, and then we would have cut to him in a basement, and he would be interrogating a man. Now, I did have this cast. This scene was filmed, and it will probably be shown in this video. I am not sure. Chase, he would have killed a man, shot him point blank, and we would cut to him meeting Johnny. We would have established here that they have a unruly alliance because there's tension there, but there's not as much tension as there was in Headhunters. Chase would have gotten paid, and they would have went on their merry ways. We would have then cut to Danny. He would be having a sort of business altercation with a woman. Her sister has gone missing, and she is paying him to find her, and he readily takes the job, and they have a little conversation. This stuff wasn't filmed, so I'm going by off of the script. They would have a conversation. Danny would ask around, hey, is there anyone I could talk to maybe find info about where your sister could be? She explains that there are a few people she could talk to. Her sister was in a rough crowd. Danny says, okay, thank you, and he goes on his merry way. Then we would cut to Danny outside of a house, scoping around, looking for the first guy that Monica, the person he's working for, mentioned. He'd peer in the window, and he'd see the man that Chase shot earlier in the film, establishing that they have a connection now. Chase killed the man Danny was after. We would then cut to Danny interviewing a new guy. Well, he would go to their house, and he asks who it is, and the guy says, yes, that's me. He asks if he can ask him a few questions, and the guy, Sean, shuts the door on his face. Now, then Danny opens the door because it was unlocked. This would have been a sort of comedic moment, but yet serious because Danny would have pulled out his gun. And he said, "Can we talk about Selena Isaacs, the missing woman?" Sean would have been forced to say yes. Danny would have been asking Sean about what are his connections to Selena, standard private investigator stuff, because he is a PI. And after a while of talking, Danny gets all the information he needs and he leaves. And he goes to see Randy, who was another person, the last person to see Selena alive besides Sean and Greg. So, we will then cut to a park. Randy is at a park, relaxing. Chase walks up and caps Randy in the head. This is to establish that they each have ulterior goals. Chase is covering it up, and Danny is trying to unearth it. And then we cut back to Danny and Chase. They are speaking about where Randy lives, and Danny gets the information he needs, and, well, they bring up the subject of Greg, because Danny is now asking, hey, what about Greg? And this is where he's playing Sean, because he knows Greg is dead. He's trying to get info out of him. And Sean is oblivious to if Greg is alive or not. He thinks he's alive. He's oblivious that he's dead, and Danny therefore can clear Sean, and he brings it up that he's dead. And, Sean would act how any best friend would to the situation. He's heartbroken. He's shell-shocked in a way. And we then cut to him at Randy's house, knocking on the front porch. And he walks in, picks the lock, and he finds it's empty. He looks around for a bit, and then he decides to leave. Right now you're seeing my favorite scene, which was filmed about PIs for Hire. It's an altercation between Chase and Johnny where he gets paid. And it corresponds with the scene I'm about to read to you guys. And it is about Chase and Johnny. They're talking. Chase comes back, to discuss the former job, and Johnny's like, hey, there's this guy snooping around. Do you mind, can you go beat him up to, scare him out of doing stuff? And Chase is like, it's not really my forte. And he's like, come on, you can use some of that detective stuff to go find him. And Chase, he's like, I'm a hitman, not a detective. And Johnny says, alright, I'll bump up your $1,500 that I was going to pay you to $2,500. And this gets Chase's attention. He's like, alright, who is he? He says, well, he dresses like he goes to church all the time. His name's Carlos. In reality, we know it's Danny. So he's tricking Chase into going for someone who he really isn't. And Chase, he goes along with it. And Johnny drives off, Chase looks on, and then we go to Danny and Monica. They're having a little conversation. Danny's giving her the rundown of what's going on. We then cut to Bart and Ron, our secondary protagonists. They would have been the sort of comic relief characters, but they also would have played an important role. And they're just relaxing, They're at the park. The same park Randy was at. We see from Bart and Ron's angle, they see Randy get shot by Chase, and they're immediately like, oh, what, WTF? And they leave to go to Mitch's house. Mitch is a pivotal character in Desperate Measures and Headhunters. His real life name is also Mitch. He's the only character that kept the same name because they act the same. So they're at Mitch's house with the real Carlos, and they're like, hey, we got a problem. This guy was killed, and Bart's like, I think it was that guy Randy. Carlos is like, Randy? And Bart's like, yes, I think it was him. Carlos asks who killed him because, Carlos has stakes with Johnny. And Bart doesn't know, and Carlos immediately gets panicked, and he's like, alright, it's gotta be Johnny who set out the hit. Ron chimes in, he's like, we think it might have been Johnny's personal hitman. Carlos, this isn't good for business. Randy worked for me. This guy Mark, the head of the whole crime syndicate that they're running, he's like, this guy Mark could seriously get pissed off at me for one of my guys dying. And then Bart and Ron, they try to reassure him, be like, don't worry. And Carlos is like, what if he comes after me as well? What if Johnny comes after me? Bart and Ron, they're reassuring him. They're like, look, man, relax. It's all good. Everything's going to be fine. And then after that, they have a few more words, and that's the end of that. We then cut to Chase and Ricky. I'm going to skip over this scene because it doesn't hold great importance. This is an establishing motive of Chase and his friend Ricky. Ricky's, trying to convince him to come to California with him to make some money, get away from this sort of business, move down south. Chase, he's reluctant about it. He's like, yeah, I'm good for now. And Ricky doesn't go on his way. He's going to be sticking around for another day or so. And then the very next scene, Ricky would have sold Brandon, who is a recurring character from Desperate Measures, who also has a scene that was filmed that was shown earlier in this video. They exchange pills and money, and this is the end of Ricky's time in the film. Our next scene would have been the first altercation between Johnny and Carlos. So Bart, Ron, Carlos, and Mitch, they're all at Mitchell's house. They're relaxing in his backyard. They're waiting for Johnny to have this meeting. Johnny shows up, and they have a conversation about it. Carlos is on the, hey man, can you, chill with this all killing my guys sort of shit? And Johnny's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they point out that it was Chase who did it. And Johnny was like, oh, well, yeah, that was my guy. And they're like, we're going to go to Mark about this. And Johnny's like, whoa. Let's not do that, because Mark is the only one who really holds power over the situation of all of them. And Carlos is like, just don't touch any more of my guys, and we're going to be good. And Johnny's like, okay, that's fine by me, as long as you don't go to Mark. And, well, Johnny walks off, and that is the end of that scene after they just have a few more words. So, after that, we eventually cut to Bart and Ron leaving. They go to do their stuff, and Carlos and Mitch stay behind. Then we cut to Monica and Danny. They're having another conversation, and she asks, any news about my sister? And Danny, he tells her the truth. I'm not finding anything. Sean is really the only one I could talk to, so I'm going to stick with him until something pops up. Explains to her he has hope that she's still alive, to keep her spirits up. And they sort of have this heartfelt moment, and Monica finally says, wait, have you tried Johnny? She finally remembers about Johnny. Danny asks, who? She says, Johnny. He asks, who's Johnny? And she explains that's a friend of Randy and somewhat of Greg and Sean. And she explains Johnny always had a problem with Selena, and especially recently, and he's always in a bad mood, but he never thought he'd hurt her. Danny asks, okay, do you know where I could find him? She says, no, I've never seen his house, Sean has though, so can you speak with him? Danny says, okay. He says, thanks, they exchange that, and he leaves. We then cut to Danny inside an apartment complex. He's going up to a door to knock, and a gun clicks behind him. And it's Chase. And Danny, he smirks. He's like, who's this? Chase is like, why don't we step inside for a moment and you stop messing with Johnny's business? Danny explains he's just looking for an innocent girl. So they go inside and they start talking. And he reassures him, I'm just looking for an innocent girl. Chase loosens his grip on his pistol. Danny then further explains who he's talking about, and Chase lowers his gun and he steps back. Danny, in return, gives Chase a look, and Chase says, I know her. Danny says, you do? And Chase goes on to explain that Selena is a friend of Chase's sister, and Chase lives with his sister Kelly. So Chase goes on to explain, yes, they were friends, and Danny asks, hey, can you help me, find her? And Chase he's not really sure about it because, he works for Johnny, and he was given the task to rough up Danny, so he isn't sure at first, but Chase does agree. He says, alright, I'll help you. Danny asks, how much do you charge? And Chase is like, what do you mean? Danny's like, well, you're obviously a bodyguard or something. Bodyguard, hitman. Chase, like, hitman. And Danny says, well, that explains the gun and wanting to shoot me immediately. And he asks, how much does he charge? Chase says he'll do it for free. Chase says, alright, let's wait for my sister to get back, and we're going to ask her a few questions. And then we cut to Bart and Ron. They're at a drug deal at a man named Fred's house. Standing at the front door. They're waiting for him, and he eventually opens the door. Fred is like on drugs all the time. This scene is a further establishing scene of Bart and Ron. I could skip over this. The only important thing that happens is Ron is accidentally shot in the foot, and that will conclude that scene. Another scene I'm going to gloss over is Lance and Jimmy getting established. They were shown in Headhunters. Jimmy was the man in the blue shirt, the smaller guy with Marshall, and Lance is the guy who got beat up by Chase. So we then cut back to Danny and Chase. They're having a conversation, and they return to Chase's apartment because they went out. And then Chase walks back into his room. It's silent for a bit, and then Chase comes running out. He's in a frantic state. He has a note. He says, whoever took Selena has my sister. Danny and Chase, Chase, he's starting to freak out. Danny's like, whoa, wait a minute. Let's calm down. And Chase pulls out his gun, and he heads for the door. He's ready. And Danny's like, whoa, wait. And Chase is like, dude, you better get out of my way, or I'm gonna like kill you. And Danny's like, calm down. So he keeps trying to calm him down, and he eventually does, and Chase is like, let's go talk to Johnny. We cut to Johnny. He's packing up some pills and stuff in the back of his truck. He turns and sees Danny and Chase walking up to him. He mutters to himself, oh, shit. And then Chase is like, Johnny, and Johnny's like, Chase, and he's like, hey man, you remember hearing about that Selena girl going missing? Johnny's like, yeah, did they find her? Playing coy. And Chase is like, the same person took Kelly. Johnny's like, well, how do you know? And he further explains because of the note, and Chase asks, please man, do you know anything? Can you like help anything? Can you give me something? Johnny's like, well, I can't promise anything, but go talk to this Carlos guy. Or not go talk to him. He's like, have you talked to this Carlos guy? Chase is like, not yet. I'm about to go see him. And Johnny says, well, shouldn't you have seen that first? I could have paid you. And, Chase is like, it's fine. Just hold on to the money. Wait till you have anything on Selena. And then we cut to Monica's house, and Chase and Danny are there this time. And Chase goes on to explain to Monica that whoever took her sister has Chase's sister. And this is where they just have a little conversation explaining the possible suspects, Sean and them, explaining further on. And then Danny tries to explain to Chase, because Chase is more on the erratic side, hey, after Chase explains that he was the one who clipped Greg, he's like, look, you can't be going around killing people. Sooner or later, the police might catch on to that, and we can't have that. And then Danny eventually convinces him. He's like, dude, you're going to bite off more than you could chew. Just relax. So then our next scene is Chase and Carlos. We then cut to Carlos in Chase's house. They are having a conversation. Chase finally got to him. Carlos asks, well, like, who's this guy? Pointing to Danny, because Carlos already knows Chase, and Chase is like, this is Danny Morowski, private investigator. Danny sort of takes over the scene from here on. He's like, hey, do you know who Selena is and all that? And Carlos is like, just saw her last week, and Danny's like, well, she's missing. And Carlos is like, ooh. And Danny, he goes on to interrogate him about it. And, just saying, hi, we did that, there was a party, yada, 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 yada. And then Chase, getting, like, he's like fuming right now because of his sister. He hits Carlos in the head with his gun. Carlos falls to the ground, hurt, bleeding from the head. Chase is like, all right, we're doing things my way now. And then he starts kicking Carlos. And we cut to interior Jim's car day. Jim would have been another secondary protagonist. He would have been a character that people are familiar with if they saw Desperate Measures. That is a character I played, but would have been recast for this film. I cast every actor besides maybe 2 in this film. And we would have seen Jim. He's watching from afar a drug deal between a character named Will Estevez and Fred from earlier. Will is selling Fred some steroids. Jim walks up, and Will's like, ugh. And Jim's, like, how you guys doing? And he flashes his badge. He's like, FBI. Fred's like, oh, fuck. Jim's, it's like, it's okay. I'll let it slide. Go on, get out of here. He's here for Will. So Fred leaves, He needs to talk to him. And then after that, there's a brief shot of Bart and Ron, going to get Ron help. And then we cut to Chase, he's getting off the phone. And Chase says, all right, that was Johnny. He's like, okay, what's the plan? And he said, Sean has them. Johnny says Sean has the girls. Danny's like, what? Chase is like, yeah. And he's like, I talked to Sean. Danny's like, I talked to Sean. I interviewed him. He seemed clean. And he didn't take it for that good of an actor. And Chase is like, well, I don't know. I'm running with this. Danny thinks for a moment, not sure, and he reluctantly agrees. And Chase explains the plan. He said Johnny's going to set up a meeting between himself and Sean. It'll take place at Sean's house. Sean has him locked in the basement. And they're going to sneak in through the back while Johnny is, convincing Sean and of other things that are unknown to the two. And Danny's like, I'm not so sure about this. And Chase is like, yeah, well, I don't care. I'm getting my sister back, and you're not going to tell me no. We then have one little brief flashback scene between Chase and Kelly. They were having a bit of an argument. And this is basically her telling him he needs to get his shit together or she's going to kick him out. And after that, we cut to Mark. Mark is the big bad when it comes to the bad guy saloon. He's like the head of the table. He's with his 2 goons, Curry and Gerald. Curry was last seen in Headhunters. He was the one who sliced Chase in the stomach. And Mark, he says, hey, I want you to go call up Will, see how his meeting's going. Same goes for Jimmy and Lance. See how they're doing. When are they going to be rolling in? Rolling in the dough is what he means. June 10th, 1997. We cut to a new day. Bart and Ron are at Mitchell's house. They walk in. They just have a conversation, They have a little, quip back and forth. This is just an establishing them more so. And then we cut to Mark and Will at the park. Will has a smaller package than usual, not what Mark is expecting. Mark is kind of pissed about it, and Mark then asks Will, well, have you seen Jimmy and Lance at all? He says, no, why? Are they coming here? Mark explains, yes, they should be, and Will gives him his cut. And Mark says, all right, I'll see you next month, but, it's not up to his standards. A gun then clicks behind Mark's head. It's Jim. It's, you're under arrest, Mark. He got him. He finally got the guy he's been looking for. And Will takes out his badge and he arrests Gerald because Gerald is also there. I forgot to mention that. I apologize. So they take both of them in. Will is revealed to be an undercover cop. Police sirens echo in the background as we cut to Jimmy's house. And it's Jim. Jim is there. Jim and Will show their badges to Jimmy and Lance. And Lance and Jimmy, they're a little concerned. And Jim's like, don't worry. Guys aren't going to jail. You just have to do one thing for us. Lance asks, well, what's that? And he says, just work for me. Informants. I know the business you all work in. You give up informants and help shut all the operations down. And he'll pardon both of them, and they won't have to spend the rest of their lives in a cell. Lance and Jimmy, they're all for it. They're like, all right, cool. because they're not that deep into it. Like, they don't really care about the people they work with. They're like, okay, let's roll. I'll do it. And then we cut to Danny and Chase. They're walking to Sean's house. And this is where Danny stops. He's like, wait a sec. Chase is like, huh. Danny speaks up. He says, I know you. And it is then revealed that Danny and Chase, they went to the same academy when they were training to be FBI agents and work for the FBI. Chase is like, oh, shoot, yeah, I remember you. And they have sort of this little conversation. Chase is like, well, huh. All right, you got my full complete trust now, you know. And he just looks at Danny and he says, look, just one thing, please. Just make sure I get my sister back. And Danny, with a very stern face, he says, I will. I'll get you your sister back. We then cut to Sean's house. They have a little conversation. And yada, yada, yada. Chase and Danny, they sneak in. They don't make a sound. And then Johnny points out, he's like, holy shit, Sean, I think someone's in your house. And Sean's like, huh, what? He grabs his gun, and he sees he sees Danny and Chase hiding. And Johnny starts shooting. And Chase is like, oh, what? Johnny sold us out. And Johnny's like, yeah, they're there. And he shoots a few shots, and he goes to take a look. And Johnny starts rummaging through his couch cushions. He finds a package of money. Johnny was there for the money. He was lying to him. And Johnny grabs the money and he bolts. Sean turns around. He's like, huh? Johnny? And then Chase takes the opportunity and he puts down Sean. And Chase, he's livid. He's like, what was that BS? And he's like, I don't know. And Chase is like, you nearly got us killed, madman. And Danny's like, that's not why we're here. Focus. Got to get to the basement. They rush into the basement. No one answers. They go down there. And nothing's in there. And then all of a sudden the door closes and it locks. Chase is like, what is this? And Danny's like, calm down, wait. I hold on. And they're like, all right, let's figure a way how to get out of here. And Chase says, I'll pick the lock or I'll break it. And they sort of get together to plan, like, why would Johnny do this? And Danny's like, do you have any idea why? Chase is really like, no, I just worked and killed people for the guy. I don't really know him. And then they look around for a bit, and eventually Danny finds cocaine in the basement. And they're like, okay, cool, well, Johnny must have wanted something else, or he would have taken this. And, well, Danny says must have been a stash of cash somewhere, picking it out. And eventually Chase is like, well, I'm going to kill him. I'm killing Johnny. And Danny's like, calm down. We don't need to go that far. And he starts going on a tangent like, my sister's still out there. He lied to us. And eventually Danny steps back. Chase aims at the door. Boom, shoots the lock off. And then they see someone running out of the house with a mask on. Chase is like after him. So they get into the woods. They start chasing the guy. And they're like, well, where'd he go? They lost him. And all of a sudden they see deep in the forest, there's Johnny and another man with a tarp and a shovel next to him. They're digging holes. The guy says to Johnny, okay, I dug the holes. Where's the money? He's just doing a simple job to earn some money. Johnny's like, here. He gives him some money, and he's like, all right, get lost. And he begins to leave when he's knocked in the head by Chase. He falls to the ground with a bloody nose. Chase's like, Johnny, where's my sister? He turns around, and he's like, oh, shit. And then he starts shooting at Johnny. Danny, he runs and he pushes Chase to the ground, grabbing his arm. He starts pulling the gun away. He misses Johnny due to this, and Chase is like, what? I had him. And Danny's like, stop with the killing. We need him alive. Come on now. So they have this little stare down, and they both look at the tarp. Flies are buzzing around it. The 2-inch closer. Danny kneels down and he lifts up for a split second and lets go. He jolts back out of disgust. He's like, oh, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. He turns around and he throws up. Chase is like, what? Danny's like, don't, man. Chase is like, what? And then he goes to look. Danny's like, look, Chase, please. He opens up the tarp. Chase, teary-eyed, he falls back. He's like, what the fuck? And he puts his hand on Chase's shoulder, and he's like, come on, man. We gotta go. So they turn around. Pierce is still there. And there's a shotgun on the ground that Johnny had. Chase picks up the shotgun. And, well, he asks him, did you do this? He's asking the man named Pierce, did you do this? Pierce is like, relax. Pierce is like, no, I just collect bodies for money. Please, that's all. Don't kill me. Chase, Danny says. He said, don't do it. Pierce is like, please, I'm begging you. Please don't kill me. And Chase, ignoring it all, unloads the entire barrel into Pierce. He stops, but he still has the gun aimed. He's frozen. And Danny's like, come on, we gotta go. Let's go home. And that concludes the first act of PIs for Hire. Picking up in 2006, we see Danny standing outside of Chase's apartment. He's knocking. He's Chase. What are you doing? And he opens the door and he walks in. And he sees Chase in the bathtub, fully dressed, just out of his mind. He's like, Chase, what are you doing? Chase jolts awake. He's like, huh? Danny's like, come on, we gotta go, man. He's like, well, why? Danny's like, we have a case opportunity. Chase is like, alright, cool, how much? Danny's like, I don't know, but we'll find out when we get there. I got a tip, we got a real chance. So we cut to Chase, putting on his shirt, finished getting dressed, and he slides a gun behind his back. Danny's like, what the hell was that? And Chase's like, what? And Danny's like, you seriously bringing that? Chase's like, yeah. Danny's like, well, why? And he's like, I don't know who we're meeting. So the two walk out, and we cut to them at the park. And the man they're supposed to meet turns around, and guess what? It is our favorite villain, Johnny. And, well, Chase is like, what the fuck is this? And every ounce of his, bro, Chase, he holds it back, and Johnny's like, guys. Chase goes for his gun. Danny grabs his arm, and he's like, wait. Chase is like, did you do this, Danny? Danny's like, no, I didn't do this. Chase is like, fuck this. Chase walks off, and, well, Danny chases him down, and he convinces him. He's like, well, we gotta earn some money, man, because they're down bad these past 9 years. And he convinces Danny, or he convinces Chase, and they go back, and Danny's like, okay, what do you want, Johnny? And Johnny's, he's like, look, I got a bit of a situation, and you'll each get $2,500 from it, but I was robbed a few days ago, and I need you to go, I need you to get my stuff back. It was Jimmy and Marshall. And they're like, well, how much did he rob you of? And Johnny's like, 20 grand. And Chase is like, he's like, can we step over here for a second? The two step back, and Chase is like, 20 grand, that's a lot of money. Danny's like, I know. And Chase is like, that's specifically a lot of money for drugs. Danny's like, I know. And Chase is like, he's got to have something planned. I don't trust him. And eventually, after some back and forth, Chase is like, I really need the money bad, but I don't trust it. But we gotta go for it. And they accept the deal. And, well, okay. Things are off. Johnny gives him the tip on where to go. He says, go see my friend Mitch. They go to Mitchell's house, and, well, Chase is like, hey, can you, explain to us what's going on? Mitch is like, yeah, there's a deal going on. It's going to be happening in my place because, they all trust me. And they get the details on the case, and they go back to Johnny. They're like, all right, cool, thank you. After they figure out that it's going to be going down 1 week from the time they're at. So we cut back to Danny and Chase. They arrive back at Chase's apartment, and they find Gerald, one of Mark's guys, back there out of prison. They're like, what are you doing here? And he's like, look, I was getting something for a friend of mine. And he was looking for something at Johnny's, and Chase is like, I knew it. He's like, this man, he's like, he's gonna go through the roof again. But Chase, he calls back at school. He's like, all right, dude, just get out of here. And then cut to Danny and Chase in the kitchen. This is their heart-to-heart moment. You know, Chase, like, sees money, it's going to work out. And, Danny seems a little out of it. He's like, what, you don't think this is going to work out? And Danny, he's like, man, I don't know if this stuff is for me. I've been at it for 9 years with you, and, it's like the killing, the sleepless nights, worrying about if he's going to live to see another day. It's really getting to him. And Chase is like, that's your choice. I'll support you, but that's not me. I'm sticking with the job. And Chase is like, come on, man, let's go see Johnny. So we're building those seeds if they each have different intentions. And Johnny asks, when's the deal happening and where? They say at Mitchell's house, and Johnny's like, why Mitch? And then, neutral location, Johnny's like, alright, yeah, cool. And then he asks Mitch, or Johnny asks Danny and Chase, well, did you ask to be his protection? Chase was like, what? Fuck you. No, we didn't. You didn't ask us to. He's like, well, why not? And he's like, well, you didn't bring it up. And he's like, well, go back and ask him. Chase looks at Danny, he's like, is this guy fucking serious? And Danny's like, yeah, I know. And, Danny says, all right, we'll be back, but we're not coming back here. We'll phone call you when it's going to happen. Then we cut to Mitch, Danny, and Chase. They're like, all right, so we're good with this job. We'll pose as security guards for you. Does that work out for you? And Mitch, he's like, yeah, that's cool. All right, yeah, it's my crib. I'll let him know. And it's like, oh, wow. That worked out. And then we cut back to Chase's apartment. Danny gets off the phone with Johnny and tells him, alright, he'll be hiding and he's going to pop up and do his thing. We're going to get our money and it's going to be alright. And Chase's like, alright, you ready for this, man? He's like, yeah, alright, well, here. He comes up from behind and he hands a gun to Danny. He's like, alright, take this gun. And he gives him an Uzi, a bigger, more powerful gun than his regular pistol. Chase tells Danny, I want you to be safe. Danny's gun was stolen, so this is replacing it. He says, just be safe, man. Danny's like, thank you. Then we cut to the deal. Mitch, Bart, and Ron, they're all there. Bart and Ron, they got concealed weapons, the same as Lance. Lance is there, he has a concealed weapon, and they're waiting. Bart and Mitchell, they're in the hot tub. Lance and Ron, they're not. And it's broad daylight. Bart asks, so why is it during the daytime? And he's like, well, Jimmy doesn't like deals at night. He'd rather take the risk of jail. And, well, Danny and Chase rush into the backyard tired. Chase with blood splattered all over him and Danny looking clean. Chase has his stomach wrapped in bandages. Mitch is like, what the hell happened to you guys? And Chase is like, oh, well, Then we cut to Curry, Mark's guy, in Chase's apartment. They're interviewing him. He was trying to steal something. And they eventually decide to let him go, and Curry slices Chase's gut open. And after Curry reveals the information that it was Johnny who sent him there, and, well, this also just secures Chase's feeling that there's something else going on. And then we cut back to Bart going, wow. Then we cut to Jimmy and Marshall showing up after Chase and Danny they've hid away, and it's now time for the big climax. So the deal starts out all fine, They hand Jimmy and Marshall the bag, they exchange bags, money and drugs, everything's going fine. Music starts playing to fit the mood of the scene, and Johnny bursts out from behind Mitchell's shed with a pistol. He aims it at Lance's head, and he says, we need to have a little chat, Lance. And Lance's like, what? He's like, where's Carlos? He's like, why? He's like, he owes me money. And Chase is like, what the hell, Johnny? We already have your money. Let's go. And Johnny's like, where's Carlos? He's really driving to home. He's here for Carlos. And he says, Chase, for an extra $5,000, can you do me a favor? This gets Chase's attention because now his sister's gone. He's in it for the money. There's really no hope for him. There's then a small scene of Chase torturing Lance to get information out of him, and he can't get anything out of him. But eventually, Chase, he's tired of it, and he takes out his gun and he's going to shoot Lance, and Lance's like, wait. He's hiding out on this street with some friends. Just don't kill me. Chase looks at Lance for a brief moment. And then we cut to him trying to drown Lance in Mitch's hot tub. Danny stops him. He's like, bro, dude, chill. And Lance, can I ask you a question? Chase says. And he says, why'd you steal from Johnny? I mean, I get he's an asshole, but why? Lance is like, well, fuck you. You know, they have their little scene. And he grabs a knife. Chase grabs a knife and he's going to stab Lance. And Danny stops and he's like, stop, dude. And then eventually Johnny, he's egging Chase on. He's like killing Chase. And Chase points the knife at Johnny. He's like, man, fuck you. Like he's going to kill him. And then Lance just runs. And then Danny and Chase run off. Bart and Ron sort of just stand there. Chase doesn't have his gun. And neither does Danny. And they have a conversation. They're like, dude, where's your gun? And they're like, they left it behind. And then we see Johnny walking calmly to his truck and he drives off. Carlos then steps outside and he throws fake blood on Mitchell. And Carlos is like, alright guys, come on, hurry up. Mitch then takes the cap off, he pours it on himself. Bart and Ron are staring at them and they're like, what the fuck's going on? And Carlos is like, it's about the plan, shut up and act like I wasn't here. And then Lance is running for his life. Danny and Chase cut a corner and see him running. They keep going, we see casually driving. Danny and Chase lose him. Johnny sees Lance running and he shoots him, pops him in the leg. And Lance, at this point, doubles back to Mitchell's house, trying to get a weapon of some sort. Chase and Danny catch up. Chase shouts to Danny, go get the guns, come on. Bart and Ron are still there. They don't know what's going on. And then Johnny just bursts into the backyard and he puts 6 shots into Chase and he kills him. Well, he doesn't kill him. He shoots him. And he pulls out another pistol and he starts shooting at Bart and Ron, who they run. This is all in slow motion. They aim for cover. Johnny then aims his gun, ready to kill him, but Danny comes out of the house with both pistols and starts blasting at Johnny. Along with Carlos from behind the shed. Johnny's clipped in the arm as bullets whiz by and Johnny runs off. He gets lucky, extremely lucky. And then he runs to his truck with the bag of cash already in there and he speeds off. Danny runs out trying to catch him, but he can't. He just stands there for a moment and then he realizes Chase is he's dying. He goes back to Chase. He's like, are you okay, man? And Chase has this moment of clarity. He's like, I'm not going to make it, man. And Danny's like, come on, just stick with me. Don't talk like that. Chase is like, come on now. I got 6 shots in my chest. I'm not making it. And then he says, can you do me a favor? I got a letter. Give it to someone. And that's all I ask you. And number 2, just go live your life. And Chase passes away. And that's it. And Danny's he's shell shocked. And Lance, he's getting ready to leave when Jim pops up and he arrests him. And it's like, wow. But Carlos comes from behind with his gun raised at Jim. He says, let him go. And Jim says, you're also under arrest. But Danny notices this and he turns around. He sees Mitch slowly moving, seeing he's not dead. Mitch is pulling out a knife. Carlos says he's not going to jail. Lance, he's trying to de-escalate the situation. Danny puts 2 rounds into Mitchell's chest. He staggers for a bit. Blood dripping from him. Mitch falls back into the chair dead. Danny, he sees red. He looks at Carlos. He's like, this is your fault. And they have that sort of little conversation. And then he takes a chance and shoots Carlos in the stomach. Carlos drops the gun he had and he stumbles back into the ground bleeding out. Danny walks over to see if he's still alive. During this time, Bart and Ron slip out from the backyard and they jump the fence and they leave. They bolt for it. Danny says Carlos is still alive. Good. They arrest him. And then we cut to a flashback of Danny and Chase. Chase, he says, hey man, I know we have differences about where our careers are going to go, but he says, look, I got commitments down south talking about with Ricky earlier. I'm going to see those through, and then I'm going to come visit you down in California, alright? And Danny's like, okay man, that works for me. And he says, alright, take your wife with you, because by this point, it's not a huge plot element, but Danny and Monica are married. And Danny asks, hey man, are you doing okay? And Chase is like, yeah, I don't know. He's, and they just have a really, heartfelt conversation. He's like, just take care of yourself, man, please, And then after that, that's the end of the flashback. And then we cut to another flashback of Danny and Chase. This is right before they show up to Mitchell's house. They're like, "You ready, man?" "Yep, I'm ready." And then we see Danny and Chase standing there off screen as Johnny, Mitch, and Lance, right as the deal's over. Danny's like, "Well, that went well." Chase was like, "Yeah, it did." And then the real events of what happened flash before Danny's eyes, showing that was just a dream of his, a false hope. And then we cut to Danny in his living room being interviewed by Jim. He says, "That's how I wish it happened." And it shows that Danny's been getting interviewed this whole time, recollecting his thoughts and what really happened to the situation. And we have a quick flashback sequence to Christmas night where they are antagonized by a crazed person that Chase ends up killing. And Danny explains that might have been something that affected Chase because that happened in Christmas time 05, and the events of PIs for Hire, the second half, takes place in August of 06. And Danny's like, "Man, like, why are you here?" And he's like, "Well, I'm just trying to get a hold of things." And Danny's like, "That's not why you're here." And he's like, "All right, I can get you Johnny. I know where he is." He said he was talking to Lance and he found out he's making a deal with Jimmy and Marshall. And he's like, "Okay, can I come with?" And he's like, "Yep, come on." So they go to Lance's house. He's still alive, and he says, "Hey man, look, you know where Johnny is." And he explains, "All right, there's the deal going down, go here." And after they leave, we cut to Jimmy and Marshall going into Lance's house because he talked, and they kill him. We then cut to Johnny's house. He's alone. Bart and Ron show up at a park, and then we see Johnny coming up to the park, and he's like, "So do you want to tell me what this deal is with this FBI guy?" They're like, "Well, we don't really know about that," but Johnny sort of enlists the help of Bart and Ron. But for right now, he thinks he should start cleaning house, and it cuts to the deal. Marshall, Johnny, and Jimmy. But Jimmy isn't there, and then eventually they have the deal. Danny and Jim start sneaking up, and Marshall realizes Johnny was going to screw him over, and he grabs the money and he goes to run. Johnny shoots at him. He misses. Marshall ducks for cover. Danny and Jim pop out. They shoot. Marshall gets clipped in the leg. He falls to the ground. Johnny then runs to his truck, and Jim and Danny try to catch up. Danny goes to take a shot, but not a fatal shot. And, well, Danny takes the shot, clips Johnny in the leg. Boom, they get in the car, and they speed off after him. Car chase. So eventually, they get to Johnny. He's bleeding out. He's losing blood. And he's limping in an open field, and Danny takes a shot at his leg, making Johnny pretty much a cripple. And Jim says, "Do what you gotta do." And Danny approaches Johnny, and Johnny's like, "Well, what about Monica?" And Danny's like, "What about her?" And he's like, "Well, this morning you didn't see her, so..." And then boom, Danny shoots him because he knows he's lying, because he saw Monica. So Danny, he walks up to a park bench. He asks Jim to give him a minute, and he sits there and he takes it all in. And then out of nowhere, Chase comes up. And he sits down on the bench and he asks Danny, "What's next?" Danny says, "I don't know. Maybe retirement, who knows?" We cut to Jim standing there watching Danny, alone. This hallucination. Mark comes up behind Jim with a gun. He says, "Let's go for a little drive." And they do. So Jim goes on this big paragraph saying, "Look, I'll cut you some slack. I never thought you'd get out of jail, but you got out. But I'm not here for you. I'll give you a day's head start. Just, this isn't the right time. And, well, just do me a favor. Get out of here." Mark's like, what are you trying to get at?" And Jim is like, dude, like, nobody's left. Everybody, they're either in jail or dead, so just get out of my car and walk away. I'll tell the boys in blue I found you at the stream, and I'll shoot, and I shot you. You know, he's telling him, he's giving him a free pass. I made a error saying let him go for a day. And you say, I'll give you a free pass, just get out of here. Mark takes it, and he goes away. We cut back to Danny and Chase, and after a while, Chase, he says to him, hey, keep a spot open for you up here. You were a good partner, a better friend, and a great brother. And he just asks one last thing. Did you give the letter to him? Danny's like, yep, I did. Chase says, well, stay strong. It's time for me to go. You got things to do and cases to solve and problems to fix. So go be a PI. Go privately investigate some shit, He says, after all, we were just a couple of PIs for hire, Danny chuckles and Chase smiles, and Danny's like, I guess so. And then he whispers to himself, PIs for hire. Danny laughs, and he's like, I love you, man. Chase reaches into his shirt and pulls out a pair of glasses and puts them on. And then music starts to play. Chase says, I love you too, man. I'll see you eventually. Hopefully not too soon. To chuckle as the camera, it would have morphed into a pop art of the two. And that's how PIs for Hire would have ended. And it's a shame I didn't get to make the movie. But now it's time to get into part 2 of my my video. Let me explain why it never happened. So this will relatively be the shortest part out of the 3 parts of this video. And this will be about the cancellation. Now, there isn't much I can say about it other than it was canceled 8 months ago due to the fact it was too big. I was too ambitious with the film. The cast would have had at least around 25 people, and I simply did not have it. Now, like I mentioned, I did have most of the people cast, but there was a major problem in getting people to film and finding locations. And that played a big part into why it was canceled, and that is really the sole reason it was canceled. And it's really sad. I've been asked to try to make it. There were points where it was going to be a mini-series, but I just decided against it. I thought it was best to leave it be. So that goes for its cancellation, and now let's go on to the final part of the video, the cast interviews.
Well, my thoughts for PIs for Hire was that it was going to be just one big epilogue for Danny Murawski, and it would answer at least some or most of the questions the audience had in the previous movies. And I've read the script a couple times. It hits right here. My thoughts on the cast? It was, man, everyone's reprising the roles from the previous movies. You got Mitch, who's not dead. And you have Sabian, Dylan, obviously. Man, if only it could have happened. Thoughts on the footage that I filmed. It's been so long that it's out of my memory. And if it's in there, it's probably telling me that footage is from Headhunters. I feel like they blend so well together. I couldn't tell you. It probably was a fun time. Yeah. Well, there's one. I'm currently making a movie called The Fanatics, based off the Hotline Miami 2 storyline. If y'all play that, you're more than welcome to ask questions about it. We're putting it in the same universe. Boom. Bombshell. Chase will be coming back, and maybe I'll trickle in a little of the Danny Murawski magic. I'm not sure yet. Yeah. It's going to be pretty major. It's going to be set in the early 80s, early 90s as well. So we'll see where that takes us.
Alright, hello, my name is Ethan, and I am doing an interview on what could have been for PIs for Hire. I got some questions that I'm going to answer, so let's just get right into it here. First question, thoughts on the film and what it could have been? Well, I think that the film was definitely better than previous works, I would say. Taking a look at the script and stuff, I definitely thought the script was a lot better compared to Cameron's previous projects up until that point, and I was a fan of it. Yeah, I like the writing. I like the potential that the movie had. Obviously we don't have that here, but I think it would have been a pretty good film and probably one of the better films to come out of Domino Productions. So yeah, let's get on to the second question. Question number two: thoughts on the cast that you know. I mean, to be fair, it's most of the same cast that has been brought up through other Domino production videos, and um, I know more of some people than I do others, so I can't comment on really that. But like, I, I'm definitely cool with, I would say, most, if not all, of the cast, or at least know them in some way or means, whether that's just being acquaintances or with I'll say Robbie, for example. I think Robbie and I are both pretty good friends, I would say, although we don't talk that much anymore. Kind of getting uh I'll admit that I've been kind of getting out of touch with a lot of the cast, just due to other personal reasons going on in life. But I'm cool with all of them. I don't have anything against any of them. I like all of them. So yeah. Third question we got here is thoughts on the footage that you filmed. So if you don't know this, for any watcher here that doesn't know, I actually did film some of PIs for Hire. Um, I'm pretty sure it was really like two small scenes, but I was a fan of those two scenes. I think what I brought to the table with, even though it was basic cinematography, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I thought the scenes were shot well. I thought they were written well. I thought they were acted well. As uh, on top of that, um, like some really good posters and stuff came from that filming. So, if those old posters are archived anywhere, you could definitely see that that's my work behind the camera, and I liked it. I am not too sure if anything else was filmed for the movie now that I think about it. Um, it's been a couple years now since all this was filmed, so I sadly just can't recall. Besides the parts that I filmed, but going back to the question, I really liked and was a fan of the parts that I filmed. Okay. So question number four: thoughts on possibly returning in future projects. Um, I'm down. uh, that's a pretty basic answer, but I'm definitely down to collab with anything. Um, I think the best time to do that would be over the summer, over this summer, hoping that COVID um, isn't that much of a pain in the butt then. But I'm definitely down. I have been trying to stay safe and everything the past uh, at the time of recording this interview, about 11 months, almost 12 months that we've had COVID. I haven't really been doing that much outside, but again, hoping that COVID and stuff dies down, I would definitely be willing to return to Domino Productions. I think I got Some friends and I over there definitely got a couple ideas for some things. That could be behind the scenes, that could be just on camera. We don't know yet. But yeah, so we got one more question here. Number 5, thoughts on a potential spinoff for your character. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm gonna keep it a $1.50 with you guys. I'm not too much of a fan of that idea. I think Carlos as a character, although yeah, you could definitely say that he's the main villain. I don't really see it. Um, I think that this universe should just really come to a close. That's not insulting anyone, but I think personally, my thoughts. This whole cinematic universe started in 2016. Um, Writers have gotten better. Actors have gotten better. Everyone's gotten better around, both inside the studio and out. And I think the studio just needs to take a bit of a directional shift, and I think we're starting to see that as well, with things like The Man releasing and other series through that studio. I just think that you just gotta close the book on this, and move on to other ideas. I know that people in the studio have other ideas. I know that those ideas are good. Could they be financially feasible? Possibly, possibly not. We would have, people over there would have to crunch the numbers and see. Um, but I think that this whole spin-off movie idea is just not good. You just gotta close the book on this cinematic universe and go on to bigger and better ideas, because I know that the studio has those. So yeah, I would like to thank Cameron for letting me on here and letting me be able to speak to you guys, give some opinions on some of these thoughts that I have. So thank you. Thank you for having me on.
I'm off camera, but this is, everybody knows, Dylan Blake plays Johnny, main antagonist number 1, and he is one of 2 in-person interviews. The other one will be with Robbie Owens. I'll be doing that one next week, but I have 5 questions for him, and the first one is, what was your thoughts on what PIs for Hire could have been?
Ooh, well, it could have been an absolute friggin' banger. I mean, you went through, I don't know how many different screenplays, but I mean, I thought each one was good. I mean, I know I gave you some of my own little injections and tips and pointers about how I would have done it, because I remember at some point you had just suggested making about Tyler's character, Danny Morowski, just chasing me, and I kind of gave you my little idea of what that could be, but you have that entire screenplay, and it's a goddamn shame that it wasn't finished. If I had to say so myself, you know what I mean?
For anyone wondering, here's the entire script, the old one. Oh, well, not the old one. It's the script. It's just that.
Yeah. And I also recall at some point you had even suggested not only filming PIs for Hire, but basically refilming Desperate Measures and Headhunters to throw it all in and make it one big thing, which I would have been completely down for, because that'd be sick.
Yeah, I don't know about Desperate Measures, but I know a Headhunters rewrite was in the script that I recall. And then, does that conclude your statement on that first question?
Yeah, I think so.
Question number 2.
Did you want me to just look at the camera then, or look at you, or...
You can look at the camera.
I figured you wanted me to look at the camera, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure because you're right next to me.
Yeah, camera's fine. Question number 2. Out of the cast that you are friends with and are aware of and know, what are your thoughts on the cast?
My thoughts on the cast?
Yep.
What, with you, Robbie,
Yep.
Ethan, Reese,
Yep.
Guess-
Connor,
yeah,
the other
Tyler,
Confair.
Gavin.
Gabe was there. Mikey was going to be in there, so was Gabe.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know that. Hey, man, I love the cast. They're all, friends of ours, I like them all. I would consider them in any of my movies, like Gabe and Mikey are in Real Men Wear Fanny Packs. You included. Tyler is actually, he has a short little scene. Yeah, I mean, I like the cast. It was a pretty good fucking cast, if you ask me. Shit.
Alright, question number 3. What are the thoughts on the footage that you have filmed for P.I.'s Fire that you did film? You were one of the very select few that actually got to get into the filming of the canceled project.
Man, favorite scene of all time. We did that scene, it was probably like 3 different days we did the same scene. And we did it, oh Lord. Oh, fucking A. We did that scene, so, I mean, just so many times to the point where I literally remembered every line and I could recite it, my lines and his lines. That's how many times we fucking did that, and I am absolutely god awful at remembering lines, like just absolutely atrocious. But that's how many times we did the damn scene. I can't remember it now because it's been so long, but at the time I could.
Alright, question number 4 out of the 5 questions. Thoughts on possibly returning for future projects?
Yep, no doubt. I would absolutely return for any future projects. I don't care. I'll play the queer character if I have to. You know, go Lollydon, Lollipop Land, you know. That's whatever. Could be fun.
Now, the final question. Thoughts on a potential spin-off for your character?
For my character, a spin-off.
Yep, you are one of... Actually, all of them, all 4 that I interviewed are going to get the same question asked. Zarek, he gave a response, and O'Connor, he already has his. We're aware of that.
Are you asking if I would do it, or if you would do it, or if you did, I would return?
Yep.
Is that what you're asking?
Yep. Would you be open to a Johnny Knox spinoff?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I mean, I already have the Totally Not Cruising script. That's finished. I mean, I can go back and edit it, and then I was in the middle of writing the Still Not Cruising script, but I was the main antagonist of those two as the same character, just with a different name, you know, different aliases, you know, to kind of try to, you know, a little bit of hiding going on, stuff like that, trying to evade the protagonists. But yeah, no, I would definitely be down for that. I'm not really sure what all we could do, but I'm sure we could figure something out.
Now, this is a question I just thought up on the air, and I wanted to ask you because I thought I could get a very interesting response out of you.
Oh boy, can't wait to hear this.
What are your thoughts on the... Oh,
what an asshole.
What are your thoughts on the cinematic universe being built between the entire CCU, between my films, your film, and O'Connor's film?
I like it. I dig it.
Yeah, Real Men Wear Fanny Packs, The Fanatics.
I mean, I feel like some movies that we could come up with probably would not fit in the CCU. Like, I don't know.
As we know.
I feel like to a point, Real Men Wear Fanny Packs works, but also to a point it doesn't, because it's a lot more fantastical than, say, Headhunters, for example.
And then
but, you know, ignorance is bliss when it comes to those characters.
Yep, and I'm working on one film, the very first one that is strictly outside of the CCU. I'm working on that, but that concludes. I'll tell you more about it after the interview. That concludes this interview. This is the 3rd one I'm filming. The last one will be with Robbie Owens, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say about the same questions.
This guy.
All right, I'm here with the final interview. Robbie Owens, someone who's going to be in the film, and fortunately the film wasn't made. I got 5 questions. They're prepared. I asked Dylan the same questions. First up, what are your thoughts on what the film could have been?
I thought it would have been like just a fun addition, but it's a shame that it didn't get added in.
Okay, next, what are your thoughts on the cast members that you knew personally?
Cast members like Tyler and like Dylan.
Yeah, all the homies.
All the homies. I love working with them. I love spending time with those guys, but it would have been great to spend some more time with them, but that's fine, that's life.
Next up, what are your thoughts on possibly returning as the character of Bartholomew?
Oh, I'd love it. You know, out of all the people that I've played, I think Bart is very close to me as a person, so I wouldn't mind playing him again.
Number 4. How would you be open to the idea of a Bart spin-off?
like his own standalone movie
or short film or series.
Absolutely. I might need my trusty sidekick though, Carter Willard.
Ron never made his appearance, sadly. Number 5, would you be open to coming back for any future Domino Productions films?
Absolutely. I would.
Well, and there you have it. That concludes the 4 interviews. So I think it's appropriate I end things with me, the writer, director, and one of the characters in the film, just to briefly summarize my thoughts on the thing. This movie will probably always be my greatest creation, the thing I am most proud of in my life so far. And one day, if I stick with film and get into film school, I hope to be able to make this film someday, because it means a lot. I loved everything about it, and I just wish I could have made it. So I know this is a long video, but thank you to anyone who stuck around and watched it. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.